Good boys. Good boys. These are good boys. Innocents. Good boys. Come on, Bubby. Come on. Good boys. Stay. Stay. Stay here. Listen. Okay, go over there. Since you can't listen. Y'all peed out? Y'all peed out? Did you drain the main vein? Did you drain the main vein? Cashamunga. Cashamunga. Did you drain the main vein? Cashamunga. Good boy. You draining the main vein. Draining the main vein on your thing. That's the home front. That's how the home front looked today. About to go kill these chest and curl superset workout. Stay tuned if you want to see somebody with the body of a Greek god. About to get it in, even though it's still sunny out. We're about to turn up in the backyard gym. Walk my buddy first so he get nice and tired. And then we're about to go push up the earth. It's push up the earth day. I done got a good 2-3 days of rest in. Now it's time to superset these dips with these Mike Tyson push-ups with these heavy curls. We're going to do dips, push-ups, and then heavy set of curls. Back to back to back to failure. Stay tuned. We're going to get it in, the workout in the backyard gym. So if you want to see somebody with the build of a Greek god, stay tuned. We walk in the cash money right now so my buddy can get his little exercise in. And then I'm going to get my... These summer days, I like to wait till the sun goes down to get my workout in because I get up early and go to work in the morning. And I can't get up early enough to work out before work. So now that I already bust my ass at work, took me a little break, walked my puppy dog. And like I said, even though this sun is shining in Florida, boy, that boy's shining. It feels like temperature gotta be like 110, 115. It's hot as a motherfucker out this bitch. You can't walk down the street without sweating. But like I said, stay tuned. After I walk my best friend, we finna get it in on this chest day. Even though the sun is blaring down. Y'all remember Marvin the Martian? How Marvin the Martian was always trying to hit Earth with the alien death ray? Well, that's what I call the sun. I call the sun the alien death ray. If that bitch focus on you long enough, that bitch gonna burn you up. Where'd you go? Get over here. Come on, let's go home. Good boys. That's the old home front. Got the old '06 Silverado. We got the '02 Gem. We got the '09 328i. And we got the 2010 Cadillac DTS. This thing is working great. I just got a tag for it, so I'm legal eagle. And next thing you know, the charger stopped working. So the charger's supposed to be here tomorrow. And I had the electric car back going. We got the BMW. I just picked this up for $2,900 and put about $2,000 in it, getting it right. I just picked this one up for $2,900, and I did the motor mount on it myself. It needed a motor mount, no check engine lights, and then the AC compressor went, so I had to put $2,500 on it to get the AC fixed. The back window regulators were broke, so I put window regulators on the back. So now all the windows go down. Those are my babies right there. 2010 DTS and the 09 328i. Come on, bud. Like I said, we finna get it in on this workout shit. I usually wait till the sun go down, that alien death ray. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Hey, come on. Cash. Come on. Come on, bud. This shit looks small, but when I get that pump on it, that's what I want too. I want a motherfucker to think I'm small. And I put that strength on their ass. Come on. Hey. Let's go. Come on. But you can't listen? Huh? You can't listen? It's the side door to the back cave. You know. Look, it's my little turtle pond we made. See the little turd in there? He under the rock. We made that shit for the turtle a little bit ago. That's my little camper. I'm always working on this bitch. I finally got all the old roof that was bad fixed. So now I just got to tear down the part of the roof that's still good just to make it new. My little ping pong table under there. We finna get it in, Cash. Who the fuck would lock the back door? You know what I'm telling you? Come on, we gotta go around the front. Yo, idiot dad forgot the goddamn key. Come on. Come on. Come on. Don't get nobody. Come on. Don't get nobody. Come on, go around front. Come on. Come, boy. Yeah. Charger for the gym will be here tomorrow. That's my favorite little ride. Then they're like a convertible. You get a suntan on that bitch and everything. I had this truck for 5 years. It's got 288,000 miles on it. But it don't look bad for a work truck. I got the new hood because the hood was peeling. And now that bitch look clean. I'm looking for a 5.3 engine swap. I'm not going to get a new crate motor or nothing, but if anybody got a 5.3 Chevy motor, I just rebuilt the transmission for $2,100 and I fixed the AC for $2,500. Shit, I got about $8,000 in the truck. And I'm about to do a motor swap. That's gonna make it worth $10,000. Shit. It's gonna be worth $10,000 to me, shit. I'm gonna cool off a little bit and we're gonna go out here and kill the push-up and dip routine. I like that shit right now. I ain't worked out in a couple days. Cracker look a little small. You wait till I hit them push-ups and them dips, this shit gonna blow up.
Next up, we mount these fans on this radiator.
It's gonna blow up.
Three of these fans, just for extra overflow. Make round out of that, so they got.
Woo! Baby, 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 baby. Baby, baby, baby. Gotta get that get right sauce. That pre-workout.
A little bit of jigsaw, a little bit of die grinder, a little bit of metal braid.
I love that pre-workout.
So,
I can't start the day working without that pre-workout.
holds all three fans. Looks nice and tidy.
I'm not gonna keep y'all waiting much longer. I'm gonna show y'all the show. Stay tuned. A lot of people that are ignorant will watch what I do or watch my videos knowing damn well they ain't never did no exercise in their life, and they gonna sit there and try to critique you. Listen, let me tell you something. If you get a good pump, right? If you get a good pump, it don't matter if the exercise is in perfect form. Because usually, if you're just starting, you're not going to have perfect form until you get the strength to hold perfect form. Yes, perfect form exercises would probably be more beneficial for range of motion and joint health. But just because you're not doing a full range of motion does not mean the exercise is not effective. A lot of times, if you don't do the full range of motion, you end up keeping the pressure on the muscle you're trying to work out, which benefits you more. Sometimes I might do slow, full range of motion exercises. The next time I might just do burnouts. Because what's going to help you more than just doing straight up full range of motion exercises, see, your body will do something like hit a plateau. If you just did regular push-ups every day, you're going to be real strong at regular push-ups, but you're going to not be strong at other stuff. What keeps your body growing and what gives you more results is constantly switching up the exercise. Do an exercise for chest like push-ups, but then the next time you do chest, you might want to do dips. So like right now, I'm going to do supersets. Or they also call it HIIT training, which is a what do you call it? It's an acronym for high intensity training, which means without rest, you go from one exercise to the next exercise, and it's more high intensity because instead of resting, you're getting your heart rate and more calories to be burnt to go directly from one exercise to the other. Granted, I could go out there and just do dips, and I could probably hit 50 or 60 dips the first time, which I might just do the first set to failure. But numbers aren't important, and your numbers are going to go down, especially if you're going from one exercise to the next without rest.
But I realized now that I have this floorboard in, which is part of the reason I put it in first.
But I know a lot of people don't want to hear me talk, which is cool.
Keep your feet.
What you need to do is go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can see if I'm talking shit or not. Because if I'm just talking shit and you follow me and subscribe and you check back a week later and I still look the same, don't follow any of my advice. But if you follow me and you subscribe and you look at me in 2 weeks' time and you say, damn, bruh, program really putting on. I was in prison. I learned all out of my workouts. I could pretty much work out every muscle in my body without having to have weights. And that comes from being a total of in prison for 7 years. And when I would learn from somebody doing exercises, I wouldn't go to the dude that looks like he has perfect form, but he's still tiny. I would go ask the dude what exercises he's doing, the biggest motherfucker, because the biggest motherfucker has the best results. So you need to do what he doing. But like I was saying, this shit kind of look like it could be bad body type shit right now, but that's because I'm not trying to flex or nothing. Lord knows, we go to arm wrestling or something, then you really see them cannons. But that's what I want to look like. I want to just look like regular old guy 6 foot tall, 170 pounds. But when it come down to it, and that boy ain't got zero body fat, them whole 170 pounds straight muscle. But at a young age, I was on bail. At 18, I got sentenced to a year in the county. At 19, I worked out the whole time. I violated the probation after the county. I went to Lancaster legit camp for 9 months. I was good for 6 years. When I was 27, I did another 14 months in the prison. And then I jumped. I was getting money. 3 years later, I got jammed up. Well, a buddy crashed on his motorcycle. And I called 911, and they end up charging me for leaving the scene of a crash with death. And he crashed and killed himself. I didn't have nothing to do with the crash. But the way this fucked up world is, they took me away from my family for 4 years over that. And I'll never forgive them for that. But with that being said, 4 years in prison, the last time was a real eye-opener for me. I really tweaked my morals, and while everybody else is so distracted in the 9-to-5 rat race of making money and paying their bills and then getting back to sleep to do it again, in prison I actually had time to focus on me. And that's why when I got out, I surpassed a lot of my peers, because although I was in prison, I moved forward while most of my peers stayed stagnant. And for the most part, all of my friends that didn't go to prison before me or when I was going to prison, they never learned the lessons they need to learn as an adult to be a good person and not end up back in prison. And it seems like when they were getting a slap on the wrist for their crimes, it didn't deter them from continuing to live that life. And now a lot of the people that weren't in prison when I was in prison are in prison now, because now they got to learn the hard way why you don't want to be in prison. After my last bid, I've been out for almost 10 years. 2027 will make 10 years I've been out. So I already beat the recidivism rate. And you just gotta not do anything wrong. The main thing is I hang out at my house all day, because my house is my castle, and I can't go to jail from my house, because I'm not going to be flexing no firearms, nothing like that. So I've been doing good. I work, I hustle, I build go-karts, electric bikes, anything you can name on. I fix the car, I'm rebuilding the trailer, I do plumbing. So I'm a little jack of all trades. I happen to be very smart with my monies and save my money, and my rent happens to be very low. So the more I stay home, the more I save money, because every time I leave the house, it costs me money. So some people will look at this and they'll say, oh, you got a little house, or oh, your house looks small, or blase squaze, whatever. But they don't know that just because people put on and they appear rich, those are usually the people that are the most broke, because they put all their money in their appearance of they being fake rich. So they'll never have nothing. Me, I got a little couple things, cost some money, that I like to keep. And I'm rich enough where I don't got to go to the pawn shop and pawn my nice things to keep my head over the water. I work very minimal hours a week, but I get paid good money. When I dig a sewer for the plumbing company, I make $50 an hour. I already have my math in my head. If I could just make $50 every weekday, that covers all my bills. Plus, I don't have all my eggs just in that basket. I make money 7 different ways from Sunday right now. And all of that don't need to be talked about because what's understood doesn't need to be explained. And if you're not one of those ignorant people that want to assume by my appearance and you listening to me for 5 minutes like I don't have no money or anything, well, that's just a downright lie. Because that's the problem with these new people's perception is they judge a book by its cover, and really one mistake at the offset will invalidate every hypothesis in the end. So if you wrong about one assumption, the conclusion and the totality, the facts for you could be way off just based on that one assumption you got wrong. I like to tell people I don't mind answering questions. If you had asked me a question and I was to answer the question truthfully and you thought you had some ground to clown me, hey, that's what it is. A lot of people will put certain stuff in the comments totally based off their assumption, but more or less you only see your own flaws in others. So a lot of time when people post negative comments, they revealing to you exactly what they think of themselves. Because when someone thinks very highly of themselves, they compliment you because they see the good things in them in you. And that brings forth a compliment. On the same hand, I haven't seen too many people that got enough money to support themselves that are haters. Because last time I checked, if you get a job being a hater, it doesn't pay any money. So the moral of the story is if you hate in someone's comments, you are just showing everybody how jealous you are of that person, how much you envy them, and you are portraying what you're talking about them for the rest of the world to believe it's about you because you're thinking about it. You're bringing that into existence. Nobody on this channel is mean or a bully to anybody. But what we do on this channel is we address all bullshit. And we don't address it to where I gotta load up and get the keys and find your address and come find you. We simply addressing the fact that if you disrespect somebody on this channel, we are going to use the appropriate words to put you in your place. Now, is that my goal of being live on YouTube? Of course not. My goal on YouTube is to be me and treat others how I want to be treated. But when people treat me in a bad way, how I would never treat them, I address it and tell them about themselves. And the smart people get it. The dumb people just dig themselves in a hole to where you'll never even have a chance to comment on this platform again because it takes me all of 5 seconds to put you in timeout or hide you from this channel for good. That's life. And that goes to show you that the reason you broke and you bitter and you have time to hate on people is because you're not spending any time on yourself and getting money. If you were spending time on yourself and getting money, you wouldn't have time for this bullshit. But when you are a miserable person and the only thing you got is to scroll through your phone and then interject yourself in peaceful, positive YouTube creators that have no problems with you, and you want to interject yourself in a negative way to their channel, that is only going to hinder you on ever getting money. Let me teach you something. If you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, and when I say that, I mean, if you were born and you didn't have, your parents didn't have enough money to give you everything you wanted, and you had to work for things in your life, right? You have to be nice to people Because the only way you're going to get money in this world is if you can communicate with people and they accept you and like you, and that's called networking. So what I mean when I say was, if you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you have to be somewhat friendly to others that you don't know, because those are the people that have the opportunities for you to grow. Those are the people that could be offering you a job. These are the people that can be linking you up with someone to give you a life-changing job, or just a life-changing introduction to somebody that can help you further do you in the lane that you want to work on for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's real simple. If you don't have a bunch of money already, or your parents ain't giving you a bunch of money, you have to be nice to other people, because no one is ever going to want to link up with you and collaborate with you to start a business, or even give you a piece of their business for putting in work, if you's rude. So if you're tired of being broke, and you're tired of feeling the karma from you always being negative to others, you have to change your thinking. Because if you don't like your reality, it's simple as changing your mind about the current situation. So really, your thinking's fucked up. Back to JIT camp, you're stinking thinking, right? Because as a man thinketh leads down to as a man is. You know? You gotta watch your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words. You watch your words, because your words become your actions. You gotta watch your actions, because your actions become your lifestyle. And you gotta watch your lifestyle, because your lifestyle becomes your character. So, if you're a negative person, constantly spewing negativity out of your mouth, that is your character. You will be known as the negative person. So, I scroll on YouTube all the time, and if something ain't my style or ain't my speed, I don't take a time out of my day to comment anything negative. I don't block them because they're different than me. I don't disrespect them because they're different than me. I love the world and all the diversity in the world. I'm not prejudiced. I get along with everybody. But when these other people have so much free time, because you know, idle time is the devil's playground. So you got all this free time, and instead of using the time to meditate and clear your mind and sync your heartbeat to a healing rhythm, you are instead, the negative thoughts are making you unbalanced and unharmonious, and that right there is cancer causing. If you walk around all day mad, that's the same as cussing at a plant all day. The plant ain't gonna grow around the negative energy. Well, the whole body is made up of these, micro cells. And the cells, just like in the plant, respond to negative and good energy. So the light of the world moves forward through genius. And more importantly, the acronym for peace is positive energy always controls existence. Okay? The three most powerful words in the world are I am God. Because God teaches you not to fear, and all things are possible with God. So, since I've never seen 2 footprints in the sand, I've never seen God help me. Every time I've moved forward in my life, that was through me. So, for me, in my life, I am God. When you help somebody, the help is God. When you take time out of what you're doing to help somebody, In that moment, you are God for that person.
This size of bolt, so that I can use this bracket without any modifications. I'll just make those little spacers.
It gets deep, and it's all up here. But that's because, like I was telling you, when I was in prison for them last 4 years, all I did was seek knowledge. And the Bible says, if you seek knowledge, you will find knowledge. But if you don't seek it, you're lost.
Good to go.
And that is the goal of the powers that be in this world. They want you scrolling through your phone, little 2-3 second pauses on all these things, so you never have a few moments to clear your mind. Because when your mind is clear, that's when you can manifest things. The scary part is when this device can manipulate your thoughts, the thoughts that you are thinking that this device, planted the seed to have you think about, they're really letting you watch this, and then it plants the seed in your head, and as soon as you're thinking about what you were just shown on the device, it takes you away from your own thoughts. It goes all the way back to when you were in school. When you were in school, you weren't tested on if you were a free thinker. You weren't tested on if you could invent something new. All they did was give you information that you have no idea is the truth, and then they test you on your memory of the information. You only pass if you remember the indoctrination they taught you. If you don't remember the indoctrination they taught you, then they start calling you all these type of acronyms like, oh, he's got attention deficit disorder, or he's got ADHD, or, he's got all these issues. No, we don't have no issues. At a very young age, when I didn't want to sit in class and hear this teacher mumble about useless stuff every day, that just means I'm not one of their minions that you can just brainwash me to believe whatever you want me to believe. I go home and talk to very smart people. My dad was a plumber, my mom was a smoke diver firefighter, and they all made it that forward in their life by being smart. I wasn't about to become another minion walking around this world with blinders on and only believe what you were indoctrinated with. A lot of these people do no research or schooling right out of high school, and 20 years later, after not being in high school, and you come up with some new information and you try to share it with your peers, you are shunned. The smart person is shunned. I'm going to read you an excerpt out of a book.
Be jumping around while I'm waiting.
Out of a book I was going to read you an excerpt of. Let me try to find
it. A little plasma robot back in action. ASAP. I'm excited. I want to see this thing on its own weight with these shocks. And I could do that today if I hadn't broken the arc drive. Bummer.
This is a real good book, and it explains perfectly what's going on in the world today. It says, I'm going to skip a little bit. It says, this book explains the universe, the elements of Nuit space, that is, the total possibilities of every kind, and had it, any points which has experience of these possibilities. The idea is for literally conveyance symbolized by the Egyptian goddess Nuit, a woman bending over like the arch of the night sky. Had it is symbolized as a winged globe at the heart of Nuit. Every unit is a uniting of some one monad with one of the experiences possible to it. Every man and every woman is a star. That is an aggregate of such experiences, constantly changing with each fresh event, which affects him or her consciously or subconsciously. That means even the things we watch on reels is affecting us consciously or unconsciously. Each one of us thus has a universe of his own, but it is the same universe for each one of us as soon as it includes all possible experiences. My own little thing is, do you know how to make yourself the center of the universe? I'm going to show you. I just became the center of my universe because when I turned around and made a complete 360, every part of the universe is around me, which makes me the center. In our present stage, this implies the extension of consciousness to include all other consciousness. In our present stage, the object that you see is never the same as the one that I see. We infer that it is the same because your experience tallies with mine on so many points that the actual differences of our observation are negligible. For instance, if a friend is walking in between us, you see only his left side. Although we may differ not only as to what we may see of his body, but as to what we know of his qualities. Thus, conviction of identity grows stronger as we see him more often and get to know him better. Yet all the time, neither of us can know anything of him at all beyond the total impression made on our respective minds. The above is an extremely crude attempt to explain a system which reconciles all existing schools of philosophy. Now, this book, sometimes people would say this book could be demonic. I don't believe anything's demonic unless your intention behind it is demonic. I believe if I read this and my intentions are good, I'm using this knowledge for good. Although others might not do that, that's my intentions. My intentions are to use this for good. So, Chapter 3. This book lays down a simple code of conduct. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love will. There is no law beyond do what thou wilt. This means that each of us stars is to move on our true orbit as marked out by the nature of our position, what time you were born, the law of our growth, the impulse of our past experiences. All events are equally lawful and every one necessary in the long run for all of us in theory, but in practice only one act is lawful for each one of us at any given moment. Therefore, duty consists of determining the experience, the right event from one moment of consciousness to another. And that goes back to the sentence I always say, that success means constantly making the right decision. Okay? Each action or motion is an act of love. So anything we do for someone else is an act of love. We're taking time out of our day. We are fighting against our body and brain, wanting to just do the easy way and relax and be comfortable. So anything you do for someone is an act of love. The unit, each action or motion is an act of love. the uniting with one or another part of Nuit. Each such act must be under will, chosen so as to fulfill and not to thwart or hinder the true nature of the being concerned. The technical methods of achieving this are to be studied or acquired by personal instruction from the master and his appointed assistants. It gets good. The third chapter of the book is difficult to understand and may be very repugnant to many people before the date of the book, April 1904. It tells us the characteristics of the period on which we are now entered. Superficially, they appear appalling. We see some of them already with terrifying clarity, but fear not. It explains that certain vast stars or aggregates of experience may be described as gods. That's what I told you. I am God, we are gods. Psalms 82 says we are gods. One of these is in charge of the destinies of the planet for periods of 2,000 years. It's because, like I said before, the acronym for peace is positive energy always controls existence. In the history of the world, as far as we know accurately, are three such gods. Isis the mother, when the universe was conceived as simple nourishment drawn directly from her. This period is marked by the matriarchal government. Next, beginning 500 BC, Osiris, the father. When the universe was imagined as catastrophic, love, death, resurrection as the method by which experience was built up. This corresponds to patriarchal systems. Now, Horus, the child, in which we come to perceive events as a continual growth partaking in its elements of both these methods, and not to be overcome by circumstances. This present period involves the recognition of the individual as the unit of society. We realize ourselves, as explained in the first paragraphs of this essay. Every event, including freely willed by ourselves from the beginning, and therefore also predestined. Okay? Saying it's all predestined. Coming right back. Some shoes. Getting pumped for this workout. Okay? So it says, thus, God, Horus, has a technical title. Her-Ra-Ha. Her-Ra-Ha. A combination of twin gods. Ra, Hor, Kurit, or Hor, Pa, Karat, is the meaning of this doctrine, must be studied in Magic with a K. He is symbolized as a hawk-headed god enthroned. He rules the present period of 2,000 years, beginning in 1904, so he'd be ruling right now. Everywhere his government is taking root. So this book was wrote in 1904. And in 1904, he predicted all this stuff happening for the next 2,000 years. Okay? Everywhere his government is taking root. Observe for yourselves the decay of the sense of sin, the growth of innocence, and the irresponsibility, the strange modifications of the reproductive instinct with a tendency to become bisexual or epicene. The children-like confidence in progress combined with the nightmare fare fear of catastrophe, against which we are yet half unwilling to take precautions. Consider the outcrop of dictatorships, only possible when moral growth is in its earliest stages, and the prevalence of infantile cults like communism, fascism, pacifism, health crazes, occultism, and nearly all of its forms, religions, sentimentalized to the point of practical extinction. For the record, I just wanted to clarify that I'm a pacifist. You fuck around and find out, I'm going to pass this fist right across your face. Pacifist. Consider the popularity of the cinema, the wireless, the football pools, and guessing competitions. All devices for soothing fractious infants. No seed of purpose in them. There's no seed of purpose in any of these things that they do to take your money, further tax you in these lotteries you think you're going to win, but you never win. It's just another way for them to tax you more and you actually believing that you're going to win. Consider sport, the babyish enthusiasms. You know how crazy people get over a football game where the Knicks championship game, they're rioting and shit all over this shit. So it's right on point for being written 120 years ago. He is right on point with what's happening in the world today, that he predicted this 120 years ago. It says, consider sport, the babyish enthusiasms and rages which it excites, whole nations disturbed by disputes between boys. These ain't men, these are little boys with their disputes. A lot of these people are of the age of adults, but they do act babyish as hell. Put on your team winning jersey and fight people if your team don't win. And like, hey, I've always liked sports, but if I'm not playing in the sport, I'm not too keen on watching someone else play. I'd rather throw the football before I watch a football game. It says, consider war, the atrocities by which occur daily and leave us unmoved and hardly worried, which is so true. They put it in our face every day, the wars, and a lot of us are unmoved by it. But they want to keep you in fear. We are children. This is the new eon of Horus will develop. How the child will grow up, these are for us to determine. We have to be the ones that are teaching the younger generation. And right now, I keep saying this. The younger generation has no good role models. If you ask anybody in their teens, 20s, early 30s, who is their role model, it's usually a rapper who sings about selling drugs or death, and that's about it. I can't think of anybody else that the children of this era would consider heroes. And that's what we're lacking, because if you're kind to people, they perceive you as weak. So the advancement of society has been to persecute people that are kind and congratulate the people that fight or the people that are mean. Therefore, this is what will continue to be worse as the future progresses, unless we take a stand as a whole, because Lord knows I can talk to my can't talk no more and read till I can't read no more, and little old me by myself cannot change any of this. We can only change any of this when we unite. And when we unite, we don't have to agree on everything, but we have to agree on something, or else there is no uniting. Like, we could just agree on something as simple as, you know, overthrowing the current government and electing in new people. We don't have to agree on the person we elect has to be this guy, but we have to get these old 30 and 40 and 50-year-old politicians out of there. We need term limits, and more importantly, we need younger people in office that can help change these laws that are affecting their family and peers. Because let it be known, all these old people that are dictating new laws and stuff, all the laws that they write never affect them or their family. But if we got these old people out of there with some term limits and we get fresher, younger faces in there, I want someone to make laws that has someone in jail as a family member so they know, they experience this firsthand, what putting someone in prison does when it removes them from their children for so many years. And the lady, the judge that judged me and sentenced me, she has no idea of the content of my character, and she is simply studying one bad day that I had as an accident, and that in no way, shape, or form what happened on that one bad day to sentence me to 4 years has no comparison to the type of character that I am. If I see a homeless person walking around with no shoes, I ask him what size shoes he is because he can have some of my old shoes. I always keep some nice t-shirts in my trunk. If I see someone that looks like a new t-shirt would make their day, I stop and give them a new t-shirt. Now, am I going to give the person holding the sign for change on the side of the interstate that has 2 working arms and 2 working legs any of my money? No. But if you generally look like you need the help and you're not going to spend it on alcohol or drugs to where I feel like I'm enabling you, I always go out of my way to help people. And I'm far from rich, and the money I give is not changing their life, but I am just trying to do my part, because somewhere along the line, I've read that all of us individually are somewhat responsible for these homeless people because we've turned our back on them. Any one of us could very easily be in their spot. So I don't care what people think about me when they look at me and they make their assumptions, because a lot of people these days, they don't even know who they are. And one thing about E-Money, I know exactly who I am. I will never change. People that have known me my whole life know that I still act the way I did when I was in high school. That's because I've always been honest. I've always been real. I don't even know what fake feels like. So when I say I'll never change, I'll never change being a solid person and a good friend and a loyal person to others until they show me that they're not going to treat me like that. Can I be a dickhead? Sure. Most people I'm very nice to. Here's an example. Not so bad on YouTube, but when I go live on TikTok, I got a lot of people that say some really ignorant stuff. Like, that's methed up, or looks like I live in a halfway house. And it's so wrong, and you sound stupid. And the truth of the matter is, if you would just ask me, although some people lie, I would keep it a buck with you and tell you the truth. Have I did drugs when I was younger? Yes. Have I did meth or crack or shoot up needles? No, never plan to. Have I experimented with acid, cocaine, mushrooms, gel tabs, ecstasy? Yes. If you think you can deduct from what I look like that it looks like I do hard drugs, you're right and you're wrong. I did hard drugs, but I think I look really good for 42. I'll be 43 in July. And I tell a lot of people every day, if you're not my age now, you better pray to the good Lord that when you hit 43 years old, you look as good as I do, that you got a six pack, that you're not fat, that you don't got a beer belly because your liver's failing. Stuff like that. And more importantly, I got one guy, he lives in Nigeria. He just commented on my TikTok months back, "Hey, what's up, man? Cool video." He said, "I like all your videos." We end up direct messaging each other. He was always respectful. I don't know him from Adam. He's obviously doesn't have a lot of money, and that's just a geography issue because he lives in a poor part of Nigeria and he's younger. So what do? Because I'm a father, I treat him like a gentleman. I put him under my wing like he my little protege, you know. He needed some money for school, he said. I don't even know if it's for school, you know, but they pull on your heartstrings when they say it's for school. I end up sending the guy money. He trusts me so much when he can't get money from other people sending him money. He sends the money to me. And I send it to him. And I don't mind doing that. I have no problem meeting somebody that I met on here and becoming a good friend with them. In the same breath, I was raised, if someone disrespects you, you're supposed to address that shit. Because if someone disrespects you and you don't address that shit, well, then the universe believes that to be true. And just like your cells react to your words, your cells also react to their words unless you straighten it with the universe. So you would call them out, or you would tell them, no, that's not how it is, to discredit your cells from manifesting what they want. Just like all our society comes from a society that had a king. When the king comes in the room, it's just like an American courtroom, okay? When the king comes in the room, you're under his jurisdiction if you do anything that they say. That shows them that they can control you with their words. The judge comes in, he's on a pedestal. The judge is up here, you're down here. The bailiff may say, all rise. Soon as everybody rises, or just you rise, that shows the courtroom that you are ignorant and you are controlled by whatever they dictate. Whatever they say, you jump up to do, okay? This is true with universal law. This is true with law of the court, all of that stuff. See, a lot of these sovereign citizens, they're doing it the wrong way. As soon as you go to court and they say, all rise, you're under the court's jurisdiction. For example, if they say, all rise, and you want to show them that you're not under their words, because when they say something and you do it, that proves that you understand them, okay? Gangsters always say they overstand. So if you were to tell me something, I would say I overstand, which means I hear what you're saying, but I am above it. When you understand someone else, you are under their control. But here's a way around it. Say they say all rise, and you want to rise, but you don't want to show anybody that you understand them. So what you would simply do, even if you're just stating it to yourself or the universe, you would say, I will not rise, but it is my own free will. I will stand up now. Okay? Say the whole court hearing goes on and you got them. You never understood any of their words. You never moved by their spoken word. They know they don't have jurisdiction over you. Let me just give you another example of how quick this can change. Say you're about to walk away with the whole case dismissed. You turn around, you're walking out the courtroom. If you have a toothpick in your mouth, for an example, and the judge says, hey, take that toothpick out of your mouth, and you take that toothpick out of your mouth, you're submitting to their words, you're understanding their words, and therefore you're under their jurisdiction. But the same example I just gave you, if you wanted to take the toothpick out of your mouth, and he happens to tell you and order you to take the toothpick out of your mouth, and you don't want to submit to his words, you simply state to yourself, the universe, and whoever else could hear you, no, I'm not going to do what you say, but it is my own free will. I will remove the toothpick from my mouth. That shows everybody that you're not an idiot. I'm going to keep giving you the sovereign stuff. See, when people say sovereign stuff, a lot of people think you're an idiot. But a lot of these people, here's how the sovereign things works, right? You could be sovereign, you could claim sovereign. As soon as you claim you're sovereign, you're claiming you're your own country. When you claim you're your own country, you are a terrorist to America. Whenever you claim you're your own country, okay, and you're sovereign, you're claiming that you're your own country, which makes you a terrorist to America, okay? Their rule for sentencing you for breaking that rule is to deport you, okay? The definition of deport is to send to your origin country. Therefore, you can be a sovereign citizen in America if you are born in America, because the only thing they can do is deport you. But the definition of deport is send to your origin country. And if you were born in America, brother, you ain't going nowhere. It gets deep though. This is why these sovereign people fuck up, because they haven't studied like I had. I had some great teachers that ended up in prison, and they didn't come to this knowledge until they were stuck in prison, and they studied it for so long, so if it ever happened again, they had the ammunition to fight this kind of shit. Okay? So boom, all rise, you don't rise. Here's what's going to happen. Some of this knowledge is in the Bible, some of this is just common sense, and we've been told this. Listen, when they came out with the 16th Amendment, they wanted everybody to become an American citizen, United States of America citizen. When they make you a citizen, they were doing that to say you could get this welfare and stuff if you're a citizen, but not only by doing that, they have control over you. And when they created the 16th Amendment, nobody was jumping on the bandwagon to become an American citizen for the welfare payments. But because they used to teach this in the schools and churches, but when the powers that be controlled the public school textbooks and they eradicated this knowledge from the common man, it was no longer taught to the next generations. That's why people today are so ignorant to the easiest, most common sense stuff in the world. So, all rise, the judge, he's up on his podium. You know, you may be seated, blah, 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 blah. You finally get up in the stand. These things I'm going to tell you is very important. Write this down, save this video, pass it to your friends, subscribe for more great knowledge like this for stuff you might be going through. But here's the basis of the example. If the judge says, if you answer any of these questions wrong, the judge knows you're stupid, ignorant, or one of the other, or both. Okay? The judge is going to say, what's your name? Okay? Judge is going to ask you, what's your name? If you're going to be under the judge's jurisdiction, you're going to give your government name, the name that the government has for you. If the judge asks for your name, and my name's Eric, and I was to tell the judge my name's Eric J., I would fall under the jurisdiction of the law. Okay? The correct thing to say when the judge asks you your name comes from the Bible. Right? And the Bible, most books in the American language in the world, in America, is the Bible and the dictionary. So these courts are going by the Bible in the dictionary and not in that order. Okay? So if you answer all these questions right, trying to establish your sovereign, this is only when you win. If he asks you these questions and you miss any one of these questions, they can establish jurisdiction. And I'm telling you, this is how it works. Soon as you go up in there and they ask you your government name, and they don't ask you your government name, they just ask you your name. And what I'm saying is, when they ask you your name and you comply with a government name that's on your birth certificate, right? You can't get this to stay with the charger. God damn, where my damn thing at? I'm gonna have to get, hold on. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me tell you. I'm not going to forget. I'm not going to forget what we talking about. But that thing won't stay right with the charger. That thing won't stay right with the charger. So, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if y'all can hear me good. So what I'm trying to say is, if they asking you these questions and you mess up at any time, you're showing them that you're not as smart as you think you are, and it invalidates you trying to prove a point anymore in the court of law. So let me just refresh because I took a break. So if the judge asks you, what is your name? And you say your government name, you're under their jurisdiction, okay? Just telling you straight up. That's the way it works. If they ask you your name and you say your government name, you're under their jurisdiction. But like I said, the two most prevalent books in the American society is the dictionary and the Bible, and not in that order. So right then, they want to answer out of the Bible. Well, the Bible says if they ask you your name, you're supposed to say, I am who I am. Got it? First question, what is your name? Correct answer in the court of law, I am who I am. They're going to ask you another question related to geography. The answer they want for the smart people has nothing to do with a geographical location. They're going to say, Okay, Mr. I am who I am, because that's what the Bible says you tell people. Someone asks who you are in the Bible, it says you tell them I am who I am. So then the judge is going to try to, the judge knows all this, and the judge is trying to catch you slipping or prove that you're not smart as you think you are. And like I said, if you answer any of these incorrectly, it proves the judge's point. So the questions might not be in this order, but the next question that's coming is, where were you born? He's not looking for a geographical location of where you were born. The Bible says if someone asks where you're born, you were born in your mother's womb. Okay? This is very important. Now, maybe before or after all these other questions, they may say, do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? They're right there, they're seeing if you know the Bible like you claim to. Because Matthew's chapter 5 says, do not swear by damned hair on your head, because you not have the power to control the color of it. So therefore, right there in Matthew's chapter 5, the Bible is telling you to never swear. Okay? So when they say, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God? If you say yes, they know you're illiterate to the Bible and what the Bible says and truly means. Did you know this? You can not swear. You can simply, I affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. So I'm asking God for help right there, and I'm not swearing to God because God taught me not to swear in the Bible. Okay? This is very important. And in the court of law, you simply affirming to tell the truth has merit in the court of law. If you simply say, I affirm to tell the truth, that is equal to you swearing to God in the court of law. The only difference is you're not manifesting a sin by swearing, which is exactly what the Bible says not to. So why would you swear on a book that says don't swear if you really are smart enough to comprehend the book? And this all goes back to they wanting you to understand them. Soon as you let them know, I don't understand, I overstand, then you can see it in their eyes. Oh, this guy thinks he's smart. The bad part with all this is, even though some of us are just as knowledgeable as these officers, soon as you claim to be a little smart towards an officer, they immediately take it as some type of diss. Like, how dare you claim to know more than me about this when I'm an officer and you're just a lonely ass peasant? They don't like that shit right there. Fortunately, well, unfortunate for me, I didn't learn any of this before I did my longest bid in prison. And I always plead out. But I always told myself, God forbid, if them folks ever get their hands on me again, and they talking about some crazy numbers, well, I'm going to have to try this right here. Because the courtroom is different than what they tell you it is. When you go to the courtroom and they have the gold fringe flag, you're not under regular law, because the gold fringe flag means maritime law. So I can go on and on about this stuff for a little bit more, but I feel like when the right people see this, they can learn something. And when the other right people see this, maybe they can elaborate on it. Because our forefathers set this government up so it was always we the people that governed ourselves. Once these people have these no term limits and we don't ever do an audit to see how much more money they got in their account, then, you know, some of these people, they make $200,000 a year, but some of these politicians have been in the seat for a couple years, and if you add up all the $200,000 a year they would have in their account, you know, minus your normal house and your bills and your cars you bought, something looks weird when you worked for 3 years for $200,000 and now you got $15 million in your bank account. To me, you're taking a bribe or you're doing something illegal. But the FBI and them, they pick and choose who they gonna arrest. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them, they got their hands in each other's pockets. So the best advice is to stay off them people's streets unless you got somewhere to go to make some money, or unless you going to help somebody. Stay off them people's streets. I know people every day, they ride around with all kinds of stuff and they not even going to get rid of it. And I tell them, bro, you'll never get out of jail with all that, bro. Why would you ride around in the car with all this shit? You playing Russian roulette with these people, bro. If you in the car, you got to be squeaky clean. And I'm going to tell you here's where more than half of the people fuck up at. Do you know the number one reason that the police get probable cause to pull you over in your car? You can Google it. The number one reason that the police find probable cause to pull, you know, common people over like me and you is some minor infraction with the vehicle. Whether it be a tag light out, brake light out, headlight out, tinted windows, too dark in the front. You know, all these little things are the most common reason that they have probable cause to harass you more and search your car and get you to incriminate yourself. The best way, a lot of people, I know people, they'll go get a rental car, and because they want to be in the rental car for a little bit, they're going to pay to tint the windows on the rental car. As a matter of fact, I just watched a YouTube video the other day. Guys in a rental car, they pull him over because of the tint. He ends up having all this stuff on him in a rental car, and the probable cause was tint on the car. Like, I did crazy shit when I was little, and my dad used to always tell me, you riding around and you got your seat way back. And my dad's like, why do you do that? He's like, soon as I seen you riding around with your seat way back, you look different than everybody else. And whether you're a good person or not, the cops are profiling people. So even if you look like you're the normal, usual suspects, they're going to be at your ass even if you're a church-going, God-fearing Christian. They still going to be at your ass. So the main reason you get pulled over is minor shit wrong with the vehicle. So to make this stop being so easy on the police, when you get in your car at night, you need to turn the lights on, do a visual inspection of your car. Or you turn the lights on and you have your friend check your turn signals and shit and your tag light, and don't have nothing you ain't supposed to have. At one point, for my Silverado, I had bought some clear lenses for the taillights. I've always liked clear lenses. I put the clear lenses on, looked at the car at night. Since the lenses are clear, the bulbs were red, but the light emitting from the back of the truck is not really red. It's kind of a little bit red. And me thinking ahead, I say, self, what if I got a joint with me in the car? Or what if I cracked a bottle and had to go and I end up having an open container? And what if a cop pulls me over because he said my taillights aren't really red? The only way I'm ever going to have a chance of beating that is if I have the stock lenses on there and he has a discrepancy with the stock lenses. So as soon as I put the clear lenses on the truck, I liked it. I took them back off. I bought a set of brand new stock OEM red taillights because I'm telling you, those little modifications and stuff you do to your car is the number one reason the cops have probable cause to harass us and drag the stop out and try to get us to incriminate ourselves or somehow find a loophole how they can incarcerate us, right? Hey, I'm not trying to defund the police. I think there needs to be police to have, a civil area. But when they go to pulling you over for a traffic violation and then it turns into, all this extra stuff without any articulable facts to prove it, then they become tyrants. See what I'm saying? This has been a very educational talk. And if a lot of people support this and comment about it and give their opinion, which I ask you to comment and give your opinion, and we can be nice and have a gentleman conversation about it. But I am finna take a 5-minute break and I'm coming back on live and we doing the workout thing, y'all. I love you.